I'm Isabella Williams.
I'm Harrison Power.
I am Michael Worrell.
I'm Parth Kansal.
And we are here today to present to you our project, Medical Symbiosis. Now, the very base of our idea is the need to help to improve the quality of life of many different people. Now, we wanted to explore this by focusing on a very specific disease. Now, I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes at the age of 11, shortly after my 2-year-old brother was diagnosed. So we decided to focus on a new way of managing this disease and of focusing on improving the life conditions of people who have to deal with many conditions like this. Now. Oh, right. Sorry, I'm short. So our goal is to focus on a new and innovative way to give type 1 diabetics a better quality of life. And we were thinking, what are the many ways we can do this? And finally, we decided to look at the idea of a symbiotic system made of a bacterial culture that would create a sort of artificial but biological organ within the human system. Now, this organ would be focused on producing insulin, kind of replicating the process of the pancreas. Now, today, insulin is produced actually with bacterial cultures already. In the 1970s, with the advent of genetic research, people realized they could take they could take the gene for insulin production on chromosome 11, put it into a bacteria culture, and watch as the bacteria produce their own insulin. Now, despite this amazing discovery, diabetics still need to have a constant injection and monitor their glucose manually. It can be very stressful, and it sometimes gets in the way of day-to-day life.
All right.
So the current solution, as I mentioned before, injectable insulin. But our solution involves creating a modified gut bacteria that would actually produce this insulin on its own. This would basically function, as I said, a mock pancreas, made of an entirely different organism that cohabitated the human system.
Now it's my turn. So, many of you may be thinking, well, why in the world would you choose bacteria? Well, some of you may already know the answer. So the human body already consists of bacteria. Actually, you see the number up there, 10 trillion bacteria. That's a lot more cells than you have in your own body. But these bacteria aren't just there because you ate some gross piece of food off the floor. They actually have evolved with you. Those bacteria are pretty much essential to the human, in this case, digestive system. They help you break down most foods that you can't. Actually, that's like maybe the main reason you can actually digest cellulose is because they do it for you. So in particular, we decided to use this one. So let me try to pronounce this. Faecalibacterium. I believe that's how it's pronounced. This bacteria is what we would choose to genetically modify. And we chose this guy in particular is because it makes up 5% of the total bacterial mass of your body. And that's actually more than a pound of you is actually just bacteria. And we chose this guy because being 5% actually makes it the largest in number of the human body, which means it's also it's the best known, we understand it the most, and it also reproduces asexually, which means that it won't be switching DNA with other bacteria. It'll keep the genes in which we modify it through and through.
So, we were figuring out how to do this in a creative way to demonstrate this relationship to our audience, and it was a complicated system, so there's going to be a lot of text approaching, be warned. Something you should never do in a PowerPoint, long text. We decided to create a board game demonstrating this principle. What we did was we had the pancreas, which produces insulin, which allows energy to basically be provided to the body in a way, oversimplification, to, sorry, lost train of thought. Yeah, glucose, right. We had the pancreas. It would basically, in this board game, be losing health, and in order to prevent it from losing functionality, you would have to replace the insulin production with new genetically engineered cell clusters, bacteria clusters. So that was the whole purpose of the game. It sounds simple, but in reality, it's not. It's really complicated, and there's no foolproof way to win this.
But still fun.
Yes, very fun.
Next slide.
So,
This is video of the game in action.
yes. So,
Make it
so-
full screen.
got it, full screen. So here you can see, playing the game, here you can see the green stuff are the bacteria cultures surrounding the pancreas, and on the very right-hand side of the screen, that counter that's being slid is the turn counter where you lose life. And, well, yeah, the cards. The cards represent insulin, which you have to pretty much pay in order to, well,
Survive.
in a way, yes.
So,
That's just an
The
example
organs
of
working at
winning
top.
this, but it's
so if you see at the end here, he has all 10 of those green things. Those are the cell bacteria. And once you reach 10, you're able to completely shift the responsibility of producing insulin away from the pancreas. And as you can see, if I can close this. Yes. I just did it manually. All right, this is me losing the game because it's actually a really hard game, and because of the dice system, I got unlucky in this game. I lost. So how you can lose a game is most of the game it starts off simple. The pancreas produces 10 energy. You use the 10 energy. You pay your taxes. Life. The issue is that when the pancreas starts to die or starts to function less, it's still there. Let me just pause the video at the end. You get less and less energy. So at the end of the game, so these bacterial, they produce energy throughout the game, but near the end, with the pancreas kind of out of commission, you can actually start to lose energy. And that's what happened here. I had one more. I just needed one more, but I just didn't have enough energy to pay for it, and taxes got me in the end.
As they all do.
How do I? Is there an easier way to get out of this without just? Because I can't just unfull screen it. It just.
That's weird.
Blissful unawareness of taxes.
Blissful on. It doesn't. Well, escape. Yeah, well, we'll just escape it. There we go.
All right, and next.
Next slide. All right.
All right, so future applications of our idea. Right, I need to do that.
Hold the mic with you. You can
Woo!
take it off the stand.
All right. So obviously a lot of these ideas are kind of theoretical. We're looking at the future here. So what's the immediate thing we have to look at fixing for this idea to be applicable? Now, the main thing is that insulin isn't something that you can just continuously produce in the body. That would be pretty bad. It needs to be measured. As I've already mentioned, one of the problems with managing type 1 diabetes is that you have to constantly be measuring the amount of insulin to go with your food and such. So the main issue here would be getting these bacteria to respond to the human body's needs. There would need to be a system in place, possibly hormonal like the pancreas, which allows them to register how much insulin they need to produce to accommodate the food being eaten, the exercise being done, etc. Now again, we're looking at this in the future, which is great.
We'll quickly finish here because we're almost out of time, as Adam likes to point out to me. So as this has it has some problems which we need to fix in the future, but it also has a huge amount of potential. For example, this could not only be applied to diabetes. Pretty much any type of hormone which your body produces can be replicated with these bacteria. So if anyone has a hormonal disease, or if there's a type of medication that they need that is produced naturally, like via plants and stuff, you could also replace that into the bacteria and pretty much have the same thing. And that's all she wrote.
So yeah.